Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, Best Practices for Launching or Reinvigorating our Gift Planning Program. My name is Nathan Stelter. I'm the president here at the Stelter Company, and happy to be here today to introduce our presenter, Carlo Laurore, which I will in a hot minute. But before I do, I'd like to say just a couple words about our webinar series. I know many of you are familiar with the series, but as an expert advocate for asset-based giving, Stelter is committed to providing innovative solutions and education for our industry. We pride ourselves on being a bridge builder for the nonprofit community, and as such, are very happy to host these complimentary webinars. And this webinar today is a whole slate of webinars we do every year to really connect you to experts across the country to assist you in maximizing revenue at your individual programs and across your portfolio. Today's webinar is actually our third of our 2023 curriculum. We have a terrific lineup this year with presenters such as Russell James, Phil Purcell, Jen Chang from the Center for Sustainable Philanthropy, and Wayne Olson, just to name a few. And we host about one webinar. We try to about a month. So do keep an eye on your inbox for personal invitations, or you can always visit stelter.com/webinars to sign up, as well as access our archive of webinars from previous this year, as well as years before. So for today's presentation, again, getting back to Carlo Laurore. Carlo is the VP and Executive Director of the National Boy Scouts of America Foundation. He's worked for almost the past decade. Currently, he leads the national plan giving efforts, corporate giving strategy, and private foundation relations for the Office of Development. Carlo also provides leadership for grant administration, restricted funds, management, and fundraising educational initiatives for the organization. I have the esteemed honor of serving on the National CGP board, of which he serves as part of the executive committee, as well as he serves on as a current board member of his local North Carolina Plan Giving Council board. Previously, Carlo worked in higher education fundraising at NC State University and NCA&T University, of which, while at NCA&T, is responsible for starting the gift planning program, where he helped close the largest gift from a non-alum individual at the time. Afterwards at NC State, he led a complete revamp and expansion of their gift planning marketing efforts, which resulted in a 150% increase in closed gifts and marketing-related leads. Carlo holds numerous financial planning and fundraising designations, including a CFP, CFRE, and a CAP designation. But most importantly, he has a heart for philanthropy, youth development, and helping nonprofit organizations, big and small, maximize their fundraising efforts through soliciting gifts of non-cash assets and optimizing their programs. So very excited to have you with us, Carlo, today, and the stage is yours.
All right, Nathan, thanks so much. The first thing I'd like to say is the one thing that was missing from that NC State dynamic is I actually worked with Stelter Company to have that 150% increase. And so it's a pleasure to be here today. We're going to get rolling on these slides, and I'm looking forward to having a great impact as your organization is looking to either launch or upgrade your gift planning program. So at the very end of the day, let's think about why investments don't have in gift planning. The first one is leadership just doesn't understand, right? What does a strong gift planning program lead to in terms of the bottom line? The second part is previous efforts, they've stopped, they've started, they've stopped, they've started. And then the third one is, in many cases, leadership is just very concerned that those efforts are going to interfere with current annual as well as major gift efforts. And so they really pause on those investments in planned giving. So here's some information on why gift planning matters. And I know everybody here probably feels that same way, but it's because of its impact on annual and outright giving. It isn't just about those future gifts. It's about increasing retention, increasing outright gifts, and supporting annual giving. And those are the terminology and phrases that really helps lead additional investment into that aspect of that fundraising program. Here's some information that if you're going to be talking to your executive or someone responsible for the budget for your gift planning program, that really helps sell why gift planning investments matter. The first one is Dr. Russell James. He had a report that said the average size of a donor gift increases by 75% when they've made that charitable beneficiary designation. The Lilly School of Philanthropy said, annual gifts go up by 120% for donors that have someone in their will versus not. So if you were just going to make a general phrase, individuals that name a charity in their will basically give double the amount than someone that has not. And when you do that, you can actually start speaking about the idea of, we were considering doing a fundraising campaign to upgrade our donors. Why don't we consider doing a bequest campaign and then allow for those research reports to align with that particular strategy? So in general, leadership must believe in growing your planned gifts. When leadership believes, you can stop spending your time and your efforts selling management and instead focus just on selling the donor. I know many of you are, fighting for those budgets and with your plan giving efforts. And when you have leadership on your side, you're really able to help excel with those programs and strategies. When you're really focused on showing to your leadership that plan giving is worthy, you become so transaction focused and not donor focused. You really end up trying to press to make a gift happen versus really just being focused on, how do I make sure that I do what's best for the donor? So Nathan was a part of the CGP group that helped create the standards. And so we're going to spend a good amount of time today talking about donor-centric engagement and management in your gift planning program, because I believe that that is truly the key when you're thinking about launching your program, is having the donor in mind, and executing in that fashion will lead to the best gifts for your organization. So the first thing, and I think that this slide really speaks to the heart of what we're all here for, is being donor-centered as well as mission-focused. When you actually lean into where those things overlap, you get the best gifts that your organization can use, which is vitally critical. So more than anything else, today's session is really going to be about giving your donors a reason to invest in that shared vision. And gift planning, in terms of what it has in the long-term sustainability, is that function, is that tool that can help make that happen. All right, so this slide right here is about case statements, and I want you to pay attention to the picture on here. So family kidnapped by ninjas need $4 for karate lessons. So this right here is actually what you would consider a great case statement, right? There's a problem. The family's kidnapped, right? And there's actually an adversary by the ninjas accordingly. Why does that matter? Well, because I'm going to need karate lessons in order to solve that need. And $4 is going to be that function. Obviously, there's a lot of humor there, but that's exactly what a case statement is. There's a community issue. There's an issue in our world, right? And when you describe that issue and how we fix it, we become that tool in terms of our nonprofit organization to be able to solve that function. And there is a dollar amount attached. And that's actually how you make an appropriate ask of a donor. So case statements in general, you actually have to have a strong strategic plan. It's one of the things that CGP really emphasizes. Where does your organization want to be in 5 years, in 10 years? Obviously, notably next year. What are the resources that you're going to need to get there? That $10 million donor, do you actually have answers? What about a $100 million donor? Do you actually have the capability to describe how that strategic vision can be handled with the particular strategy and sustainability? Those gifts are truly resolved through that process of allowing your case statement to also be that vision statement for your organization. And especially for your nonprofits out there, it's critical that we have that on the table as we try to sell how our program really attaches to planned gifts. So here's one of the things that I always tell people when they ask, how do you build a better case statement? You look at other people's. What do you like? What turns you off? Your donors are real people, and so are you. So if it turned you off, it probably would turn your donor off. So start thinking about those things when you're looking at creating that strategy for your own program, as you look at ways where your case statement aligns with your gift planning marketing, and really be mindful. And we're going to be talking about some tips and some strategies that are associated with that be who you are approach in regards to marketing. So they say that this rule is out there, and Kevin Roberts, 80% of decision making is emotional and 20% is rational. That means reason leads to conclusions, but emotion is what leads to actions. And so when we're in the gift planning space, we obviously are very impressed by the tools and the tactics and the, tax benefits and everything else. But the reality is your gift planning program is still a part of a fundraising effort. Your donors have to walk away inspired. That is going to be the place. And then the how becomes the secondary component. And so when you're thinking about the strategy for your program, remember, you are still a part of just a general fundraising effort. And so you're really looking to integrate those approaches. With that being said, the same slide, but different. Most giving is 80% emotional and 20% rational. And the best way to get someone's emotion is to tell a story, right? When you see a picture, it really does tell a different story and make you feel and emote emotion around that support area. And so that's one of the things that you really should be thinking about as you're considering your program. All right, so storytelling. Every box of crayons tells the tragic story of grapes that weren't made into wine, right? Besides looking at raisins with a real critical view in the future, right? You do want to tell a story that allows for someone to connect with it and really see something different than maybe what they were already seeing. Whether that is a career program, I myself work for the Boy Scouts of America. Instead of just talking about camping, talking about the leadership component, talking about how that prepares someone for life and in the careers that they're in. Being able to tell that story really allows for the donor to understand how that story connects to the bigger picture. All right, so sell your story. Share messages with pictures. All right, your mission should be seen visually. A lot of times in gift planning programs, obviously with Stelter advising, they'll help you avoid some of those things, right? We sometimes have all of the information around taxes and forget the fact that donors need to be walk away inspired. They need to walk away with that information that allows them to make a fundraising decision, and then they'll figure out the how on the back end. So here's an example for you. Pictures tell the whole story. So the winner, Victoron, raised his index fingers in victory on Sunday. Dutch speed skater used two different fingers to curse his second place finish. All right, I want you to think about whatever it is that comes to your mind about the imagery. This is actually the image that was in the paper. If that's not the thought that you had, that's the same exact thing that happens when you say young people were inspired. Our program made a difference. We are here to save the world. It matters what images you put in front of your donors, because that's what's going to drive them to want to talk to their tax preparer, or drive them to pick up the phone and call your nonprofit and want to learn more about the gift planning effort that you're launching. So pictures tell that better story. Flash those images, whether it's in your marketing campaigns or anything else. The images need to be prevalent about what it is that you're trying to sell people, because it is a fundraising decision. And then gift planning is the strategy that people are going to deploy in order to be able to, whether it's leverage for tax efficiency or make that sustaining gift to your endowment. So here are some tips. I'm very excited that Stelter actually shares the slides. So these are some things that you can ask yourself about your program when you get the slides. Does your organization have an active strategic plan or case statement? And is it being leveraged in your gift planning messaging? If you're launching your program, answer this in the inverse and incorporate it. Are you effectively and consistently using pictures to sell your story, putting it inside of there? What could you do differently or better? I've seen many gift planning newsletters that don't have any pictures of the organization. Donors are going to see that over time, and your click rates will go down. So think about those ways that you can incorporate an extra picture or use additional imagery, so that maybe someone opens up your newsletter and maybe the only thing they do is look at pictures and stop and reflect on your organization, but that stop and reflection will make a difference. Also, are you actually soliciting inspired gifts or required gifts? Are your most loyal donors, are they giving through inspiration or invoice? right? And so those pictures, those strategies, being able to think about how you lean into that approach is how you really drive those efforts. And some of that really also means partnering with your annual giving team, because that is also a part of where you're going to get those best leads. And one of the last areas is how many of those most loyal donors have made a planned gift to your organization? Have all of them been asked? That's one of the most important things. You've got a long-standing organization and you've had someone that's been giving to you for 30 years. That's not a conversation you should be afraid of. Just because they've been giving to you that long, maybe that gift is there and you just don't know it. So it's just something to think about as you consider your strategy moving forward. All right. So consistently communicating those tools. So here's some things for you to think about, especially if you're launching your program or if you're like picking back up the pieces. When was the last time your gift acceptance policy was modified, updated, or do you even have a gift acceptance policy? I know that Bitcoin was all the rage and may not be in the rage, but might be in the rage in the future. Do you have those capacities to receive Bitcoin or marketable securities, et cetera? Are you actively marketing stock gifts? There's many reasons, but the most important is there is a reason why your donors, from a tax perspective, may want to make that gift. Yes, it does feel like an annual giving component, but planned giving's job is to really share about all gifts that are non-cash based. And so this is where your planned giving efforts really lean into. QCD gifts, the same question. What about grants from donor advised funds? Are you actually involved with ensuring that they're appropriately credited and some of those issues related to it? That may require partnering with another staff member in terms of annual giving or your development services team. And in some shops, you may be a team of one. And so all of that is you. But it's important that if Carlo Laurore's the Laurore Family Foundation made the gift, that is also credited to Carlo Laurore, or I will be frustrated because I feel like you don't fully understand my giving to your organization. And then the last couple are, have you conducted a donor survey? Stelter has resources that may be able to help you, but that donor survey can provide that additional resources as well as provide additional leads. And then the last one is, what could you do to just consider improving your program? And that's what that donor survey can really share as well. All right. So I just flew back from Minnesota yesterday, and in the airport there, they have a kind of print shop with original things there. One of the things with Prince's estate is 56% of his estate was lost to taxes, and there was 48 heirs. More importantly, there were no charities. Why? Because without wills actually being executed, it doesn't happen. A donor can't make that gift happen unless it happens during their lifetime. So they really are lifetime gifts that impact forever. And so it's our job to communicate the strategies. So here's some quick stats. 80% of Americans give charitable gifts during their lifetime, but only 5 or 6 pass them during their death. One of our jobs with setting up your gift planning program is, what can you do to bridge that gap between the two? So will gifts can't happen without those completed wills. And so one of the aspects of your campaign is just ensuring that you're actually making sure that will gifts actually occur. Most programs at least see about 80% of their program be, will gifts. If you're launching a program from scratch, being able to secure those will gifts before you get into more complex assets may be an approach that makes a lot of sense. And so whether those will tool guides and everything else, being able to be a resource is critically important. Most notably, if there's someone that doesn't have children, you want to be the one to provide that option as well. Here's the last step. At the end of the day, if those donors are being educated and inspired, they'll consider updating their plans. And if they update their plans, they can consider your organization. And so most organizations that don't have a gift planning program, they receive bequests, but they receive far less because they're not the ones sharing, we're open for business. So Information on donor advised funds in terms of communicating tools. 60% of all funds going into donor advised funds are non-cash assets, right? Primarily stock. And 79% of DAF donors are over 50 years old. How does that compare to the board demographics of your organization, especially for your nonprofits out there, where you critically and more importantly are very involved with your boards and who are normally your most loyal donors? If they skew in that older range, some of their wealth is not going to be seen because those gifts have already been made to that DAF, and they actually have that charitable account that's readily available to support items. Other components. The one that's most important is with your organization, if you don't have the ability to receive stock or receive stock in an efficient manner, the other way to do it is make sure that you are aggressively marketing to DAF gifts. If you aggressively market to DAF gifts, yes, the DAF, the money will go to the DAF instead of you. But then as that donor makes that gift, they'll know you're open for business, and they may consider making that contribution to you because you're almost selling them, hey, look, after you make that gift to Fidelity Charitable or Wells Fargo, et cetera, use your DAF to support our organization. We will make sure that you're appropriately credited and everything else. Other ideas, incorporating it as a giving method. This is something that I've done inside of my organization, whether it's on pledge cards and everything else. It is a part of that major giving ask, and it's on the pledge card itself, because if they want to make a gift from a DAF, I want to know, I want to make sure it's credited, and it becomes a tool. The pledge card itself becomes a tool letting people know of the various options to give. And then the last one is, in many cases, there's a beneficiary designation option with that DAF. Is there an opportunity for your organization to be named on that side? So in terms of marketing your organization, are you marketing non-cash gifts well? If you're launching your program, is this an opportunity for you to move it forward? Is there an actionable improvement area that you can actually lean into to upgrade your program overall? All right, so donor stewardship. And I use the picture of Cheers because one thing very special about them is they actually knew their folks. Right. And that's really what donor stewardship is. It's really knowing your folks, making them feel welcomed, making everything feel aligned. And that's critical for your success as well. So the idea of stopping to prospect and looking in your existing donor files seems foreign, but makes a lot of sense. In the example of Cheers, who are their best clients? Their existing clients. Who's the one that's most likely to come in and have a bar tab that next day? Someone that did yesterday. Who's the next person that's going to make an estate gift? Someone that's already been giving to your organization. And so that aligns very deeply. Who's even interested in actually raising the estate gift they have? Someone that's already made an estate gift, and you've done such a good job stewarding them that they may consider doing more. So in our world, it's all about ROI, results, outcomes, and impact. And communicating that. This is going to be very important, and I'll share to you a couple reasons why. The first one is, one of the biggest hurdles you have is your donors don't always know that your gift is making a difference. And your feedback may be, Carlo, I'm in gift planning, that doesn't really attach to my area. Well, how can you ensure that whether it is inside of a newsletter that your gift planning team is, you're communicating messages about what's going on with the university as a whole, or other dynamics so that people know that their giving overall makes a difference, your gift planning program will thrive because people know, hey, they've been great stewards over this gift. I would trust them with a much larger gift, or I would trust them with an endowment gift. I would like to name them in my will. And so that's one of the places that you can make a large difference, is making sure donors know that they're getting that thank you and also feel like their gift is making a difference inside the organization. Another fact is that, what if you could actually set up a campaign for your organizations where you're connected to your board members, where the larger gifts, a board member said thank you. what would that do in terms of getting people to renew their gift next year? When you try to pursue that planned giving conversation, their willingness to consider endowing that gift or naming you in their will. So what can you do to align with donor stewardship efforts so your planned giving program is strong? Or more importantly, even with your planned giving program as a whole, do you actually have a thank you to your legacy giving members in a way that, of course, they're not writing you out, they're writing you up? So when I say that, this is what you guys think it looks like to thank your donors. This is what you think it looks like. Yay, smile, woohoo, yay, great. This is how your donor feels. They are excited. An organization that they've contributed a part of their life's work in terms of money has thanked them for what they've done. In the case of a legacy gift, they're actually connecting their long-term legacy to you. So making sure that donor stewardship is a critical component of what you do is a must. It's a requirement if you're going to be in this business and do a great job in terms of launching your program. So in terms of evaluating your program, how do you guys currently recognize donor giving? Are there ways to improve it? Even if that means that you're in a shop where it's partnering with another side of the house, or is your legacy society being recognized in that way? Is there a way for you to involve, whether it's board or volunteers, inside of those stewardship efforts? Even if it's just around a new planned gift, you think it would be well received? And then how would you rate your organization in terms of communicating ROI? And unless you rate it a 10, is there some ways that you can improve it? Can you take this idea and then lean it back into your approach? All right. So yes, I did use the same picture again. Here's the reason why, in terms of gift planning awareness and marketing. Because everybody doesn't know your name. They don't know you're open for business. They aren't familiar with the gift planning products. If you're launching a program or you're revamping a program, which means that you probably haven't been marketing effectively, they don't know your tools, your strategies, everything else. It doesn't exist in a way that's most effective. And so now you're leaning into that approach in a more meaningful way. So planned giving awareness, you really do need to think about in terms of like steps and ideas. How do you build an educational campaign to your target audience? Letting them know about the gift planning and ways that you can actually like expand your prospect pool and everything else. If they're aware of planned giving, they might consider using those products. Like I said, whether it's something as simple as, partnering with annual giving or partnering with major gifts to ensure that the pledge cards for the organization may include, have you considered a gift of stock or other dynamics in terms of one of the methods for giving. You are doing the hard labor of saying, I've planted my flag. We are in the business for planned giving, and this is what it looks like. So thinking about those audiences, you've got a couple when you're in gift planning. You've got internal audiences in terms of development officers. You've got your internal contacts, but you also obviously have your prospects of the organization. So think about that segmentation strategy as you think about what does it look like to add awareness to your process. In terms of education, Stelter does a great job with their education, but are there some initiatives that you can do with various constituent groups around educating them around planned gifts or around a particular topic? This is a very critical approach because mass behind the educational is the idea of really almost soliciting that future gift. And so think about what can I do in these various interest areas, even down to the level of your legacy society members, because there may be some strategies that you can deploy that may allow them with let's say a QCD to accelerate their giving or accelerate their bequests. In terms of prospect identification, in some cases you have a more complex donor resource tool where you can actually do some data modeling and everything else. If in the presence where some of those areas don't exist, pick whatever you would consider to be a significant number for your organization. 10 out of the last 20 years. Okay, way too big. 20 of the last 25 years. Okay, way too big. someone that's given to us for 25 years in a row, right? Find that list of, this size donor list, that size donor list, and use those to start building out that strategy of who you want to talk to, how would you like to target them, et cetera. But creating that marketing funnel of, all right, we created a planned giving shop, but just because you build it, they will not come. You need to reach out to them. All right, so I just have an obligatory couple items when I worked with a couple different local councils within the Scouts in terms of creating marketing materials. But, having some of these questions everywhere around, endowing your annual gifts, or have you named us in or the organization in your will is always important. Also inside of there, what I did was actually leverage making sure that giving opportunities or priorities were available, because when someone makes a planned gift, it still isn't the philanthropic problem, right? A planned gift to our organization to do what, right? And so you're filling out that entire place. I want them to give a planned gift of what type of insurance, of what type of instrument, of what type of amount, but to do what. And so knowing that is really a vital component of what you're doing, or at least being able to talk fluently about that. All right, here's some other tips. Using check boxes, whether it's marketing gifts of stock, have you included us in your estate gifts? Would you like to have a conversation? I have a donor advised fund, would like to learn more about giving to your organization. Those are things that you can do. There's other ways in terms of just I'm making my gift from a DAF that you can do just to make sure that you're marketing the fact that you receive these types of gifts, and you will do a good job in receiving them. So this is one example. I'd like to learn more about supporting. I've included, I would like to transfer. So this was just a very simple pledge card. They were going to be receiving small gifts, large gifts, everything else. One of the jokes is, if someone's going to give you $250, why exactly would you offer a stock gift? One, who knows what they're going to give me? And number two, what if this is a share of Microsoft that's $300 and they own it at $50? This is still an opportunity for them to be more tax efficient with their giving. And worst case, they now know that we're open for business in regards to stock gifts. So I have this here, some actionable steps, but integrating and soliciting for DAF in your digital approaches could be an idea if that's something that you support. If you're in the business of doing a donor survey, can you include a DAF question inside of there? And then in the future, use some segmentation. Can you share a story about how someone used a DAF? And then try to lean into that approach on the back end in terms of seeing if that solicits someone else to say, oh man, I forgot that you guys actually could receive a gift from a DAF. I wasn't thinking about that when I was thinking about my giving. And then marketing efforts, whether it's to past board members because of that age demographic that I shared. And then more importantly, if you're a small shop, right, you barely have access, you're not going to be able to receive a stock, a real estate gift, et cetera. It becomes even more vitally important that you set up your strategies in a way that says, hey, look, I'll let a financial institution handle the DAF part, but I'm definitely going to be in the receiving a grant from a DAF situation. All right. And so being donor centric, right? And Nathan, want you to know I went ahead and covered a whole 4 sections out of the CGP requirements. So being donor centric, there we go. Where the donor investment occurs, donor centric proposal, right? Donors have their interest, their capacity, and their timing, and you have your funding priorities, right? Where it meets in the middle, that's where the gift happens, right? Sometimes the reason why you need a planned giving shop in place is because the donor's timing doesn't align with your timing. You want the donor to give you $300,000 today. The donor, for their situation, would like to give you QCD gifts, qualified charitable distribution gifts, over the next 5 years, right? And so being able to to find that wiggle room in between your priorities and understanding that your donor has these different issues. And as you actually have the complexity of your gift planning program, you can be more nuanced with your strategies. Especially for your larger institutions, but anyone, don't try to impress people with your campaign goals. Focus on that donor impact. That's how you really lean into the direction of being donor centered, right? That campaign goal is our goal, right? The donor's goal is making an impact in using your organization to do so. Our job is, we are in the business of reminding and reconnecting people. You can't sell donors the gift planning tool. They use that tool to solve that philanthropic problem, right? And so your job, as I've described it, is to spark that passion and help that translate into impact. And if you're being donor centered, that's exactly what you're going to do. And really think about that philanthropic problem, because that's what we're in the business of doing with gift planning. With that being said, I revamped this presentation because I've heard from people, hey, I hear all that great stuff. What I want to know is, how do I get started in getting planned giving built inside of my fundraising program? What are those actionable steps so I can make some great things happen, so I can sell getting additional investments inside of my organization? All right, so this is a part of something that I did inside of my organization when I was helping us revamp our program. So the first thing is, you want to think about, what does it look like to establish a planned giving presence, right? And then create your own goals, right? Mine was legacy giving to scouting needs to be top of mind to our donors, and then think about what that looks like. Because I work for the national organization, I was thinking about, what does it look like to have a coordinated effort? Maybe you're at a school. What does it look like to have a coordinated effort amongst all of the different schools and shops across the program? Or maybe it's a coordinated effort amongst all of the different development officers. What do you want? You want your donors to know you're open for business. What does that look like for you? How would you make sure that people know you're in the planned giving business? And then initiating the planned giving conversation with your long-term donors and volunteers. Like I wanted that to be my thing. So what are those goals for you? And then really thinking about how that strategy aligns with that long-term sustainability of your organization, because you're planting trees today, you're planting those seeds today that will be a tree, and maybe you're not there to build it, but it is that opportunity to build that strategy out. So the second thing, internal collaboration, right? It's going to be the most important thing, is having those strong relationships with your internal stakeholders. I tell you, take this section, and, I listed what were ours, but what are yours? List who those internal collaborators that you need. That will change your program when you realize, guess what? Our treasury officer, the accountant, I need to make sure I'm in alignment with that person, or annual giving, et cetera. Really being able to hone in on what does it look like to be a good internal partner, and making sure that I'm working with my internal stakeholders in a way that's impactful. All right, integrating your planned giving program within your development strategies, right? This was very critical for me, because remember, planned giving is another part of your fundraising program, right? And so think about efforts around, whether it's piggybacking efforts on, whether it's donor or alumni contact opportunities, whether if you already have digital fundraising efforts, can you add a checkbox or some other dynamic? If there's newsletters that are already going out, is there a way for you to kind of have a blurb about planned giving, or have a section inside of your e-newsletter? And then, really being able to work with your development officers, if you have a shop with many of them, and making sure they're aware of those giving opportunities for donors, whether it's endowing their annual gift or other approaches. So what does it look like for your planned giving program to be a part of that massive structure? From a prospect identification standpoint, here's some things that I think is important, right? If you have the ability to pull a lifetime giving report, do that, right? And then think about those things that I said. Someone that's given you the last 25 years, someone that's given you for the last 30 years. Those are conversations that you will not be afraid to have, because those donors are willing to talk to you. They have 30 years worth of legacy, 20 years worth of legacy. The soliciting or the cultivating has happened not because of you, but because of those longstanding relationships your organization has done. Think about segmenting in terms of your prospect list and communication strategy, as well as just leveraging your stewardship efforts and legacy giving to try to call up planned giving donors that you just aren't aware of. In terms of marketing strategies, I look at this as a possible 12 to 18 month approach that I think makes sense for you. Focus on the simple stuff first, right? If you're launching a program from scratch, get some early wins, and those wins are likely going to be from beneficiary designations or requests. So focus on there, whether it's just making sure the sample request language is readily available, getting those wins out there, having a donor intent statement, et cetera. Also, once again, for Nathan, the standards, using the standards as a best practice way to build out your program. That becomes a really easy way to ensure that your program is being built with a strong foundation for success. In terms of those next steps, right, as you kind of get further and past that first, 12 to 18 months, think about what are ways that you can align with low cost marketing options or, electronic options that really expand your approach. Thinking about how to piggyback off of other people's approaches so that you can just continue to win. Some of that stuff looks like those check boxes, as I described, having a tagline under your email. Can you be inside of other marketing pieces that are going out where planned giving is just a piece of a much larger pie? In terms of that communication plan, right, have the ability to evaluate. Stelter has some great tools in terms of their evaluation tools, but have the ability to say, how are we doing with our planned giving efforts? How are we doing with our communication efforts? You should actually have answers. We have a blank click rate. We have a blank open rate. We've got this many prospects that have been generated from here. It will set you apart and really drive additional dollars when you can communicate KPIs, those key performance indicators of your success. That website becomes that tool, especially if you're launching a program from scratch. Just being able to sell the tool that we have a website and that is there and effective becomes a very important approach. And then the other side is whether it's donor stories or youth impact stories, which sometimes planned giving, we focus on the donors, but forget the impact it had is what's going to inspire someone to make that gift. So think about that. And then using pictures inside of those newsletters, using pictures, anywhere that you can, because you want them to think, wow, look at this great impact. Oh, and there's a tax efficient way to do it. All right, here's some of those final steps for you in terms of how to take this up to that next level and really be able to take this section and lean into, gathering some successes. And maybe I'll see you at a CGP conference or somewhere else. And you're like, Carlo, I followed this webinar. I did those things and it's 3 years out. And here's what happened. Here's those wins that we received. So the first one is, as you have that communication strategy, what does that follow-up look like? Having a policy around, we're going to respond to people in 3 to 5 days if they download an estate planning guide, right? Being the kind of group that now that we actually have a website and now that we're getting feedback, we respond quickly to folks. I actually list some questions for you so that you can actually think about, how do you have that conversation? Tell me about yourself. Were you a scout, as a youth for your organization? Were you involved in environmental causes when you were younger, et cetera? How are you connected to our organization? What's your favorite aspect of our organization? You express interest in a planned gift, asking, are we already in your will? Right? They contacted you through a planned giving website. Do not be afraid to ask the question and kind of carry that through the logical conclusion to see if there's something there or they're in the prospect pool for the future. Those conversation outcomes, make sure you're documenting it inside of your Blackbaud, CRM, Salesforce, et cetera. Putting those stewardship pieces in place, including, I want you to remember that image of getting someone in your planned giving society. what does that look like in terms of turning what you just think is a smile into a feel-good experience? And then obviously that future cultivation, aligning with invites or site visits to your organization in the future. Where do you launch and who? So here's the last couple items. So there's a missed opportunity if you aren't talking to your board and your most loyal donors and asking them, did you make a gift as far as an estate gift? Find out if it's a clear yes or a clear no. If you go to someone that's been giving you for 30 years or a board member and say, hey, I don't know if our records are correct in terms of, have you named us in your will? I'm just really just trying to do more of an audit of our file. They'll either say, yes, I have, yes, I've thought about it. No, this is the first time I've thought about it, or H, no. And all of those things are valuable answers, right? They're either going to be prospects or someone that you're not going to concentrate on gift planning. And so really lean into that. How many donors does it take to, replace that donor if they don't, endow their planned gift? So that may be something to think about. Your most connected donors. I just list a couple so that you can think about, what does that look for me? But think about who those most connected donors. One thing that I did not add there is, individuals that don't have children. That may be a great option in terms of just putting that in the forefront, because if they're supporting your organization, maybe that legacy question in terms of supporting your organization may be also on there as well. The last thing is this idea of a friend of your charity forever. Think about that. If you're thinking about how to launch your program, how do you sell a planned gift, which can easily be 100 or 400 times larger than an annual gift? Let's just concentrate on being 25 times or 20 times your annual gift by having them endow their annual gift. And in terms of the administration, they will easily see and understand the value of what does it look like for a planned gift to fit in that area. With that being said, I hope I've given you some things to think about, things to consider with your program, and here for Q&A.
Thanks, Carlo. We do have a couple of questions that were sent in, but I do invite the attendees to go ahead and send more questions in. We have a question, Carlo, in regards to stewarding the donors that have left a planned gift. Morgan's wondering if you can talk a little bit about how can you show those people the impact of their gift and thank them throughout the year when they're not an annual giver, but you do know that they've left a planned gift.
So, I mean, in general, depending on if they're unrestricted planned gift or a planned gift that specifically aligns with an area, you want to segment your marketing to that person and treat it as if, right? So yes, the donor they have not given you the gift yet, but you will receive a significant scholarship gift in the future. Share them stories about the impact of scholarship gifts from others, right? Yes, it's not their gift, but they can now see themselves as that donor and that impact, because, one of the worst feelings that you can have as a planned giving, in our role is you receive that planned gift. Our organization had no record of it, and we have no ability to thank this person for their really generous gift. And so being able to share those imageries are your opportunity to basically say thank you in advance for this very substantial gift. And more importantly, it is one of the pathways to ensure they don't pull you out of their will. And that includes if there are opportunities for site visits to meet youth or see the environmental impact or whatever, treating them as if they've made that future gift now, so that they actually see how it can happen. And more importantly, it leads to gift acceleration, when their financial situation occurs.
Absolutely. And I didn't know, Nathan, if you had any more comments about that. Our last webinar, we talked a lot about legacy societies. And I think, that would be something, if you don't have a legacy society already set up for those donors that have let you know that they've left a planned gift, that's something that you should look into doing. Tamisha wants to know, what's the best way to source or get photos to use in your gift planning messaging if you have a small budget and you can't afford to hire a photographer?
So it depends. More likely than not, your institution has gathered marketing pictures for other reasons, right? Like lots of different reasons, but not for your purpose. And so generally speaking, I always align myself with the marketing office, thinking about, how to be a good partner, right? They're the internal stakeholder, and trying to actually gather those pictures from that side. With that being said, when we talked about how can you involve volunteers or someone else, that becomes maybe an opportunity where there might be a volunteer that's connected to your organization that may be able to take pictures at an event, or take pictures, from a site visit or something else where you can use. One fast hack though is, if you get those pictures, you can work with, Stelter and say, here's a load of pictures. I will follow up with you in the future so that I can revamp my website. I don't want to change anything. I just want to adjust my picture so that my website can always be freshened up. And they're willing to kind of have those tools and resources in terms of having those pictures so that they can be updated as well. So when you get those pictures, you can actually use that in multiple different ways to make your website and make your, especially a small team, make you look like a giant in terms of your marketing efforts.
We have a couple of questions about donor surveys that were mentioned. One, Melissa would like to know if you could talk a little bit about the types of questions that should be included in a plan giving survey. And then along with that, Amy is asking how you would segment the audience for a plan giving survey.
So there's a couple different ways that you can do a donor survey. You can either do a fundraising survey that includes plan giving, right? And so then you actually have a couple questions inside of a larger survey. That way, whatever's asked on this side, you kind of like grab those answers and fill that out. That becomes a really interesting idea because depending on where your shop lands, it may be easier to get everyone on board with allowing you to communicate with everyone or with that segment of the population if it's a part of a much bigger field. So think about that, plan giving is a part of a greater whole. Should you do a plan giving donor survey, or could you have questions a part of a much larger survey or survey that's asking other areas? The other part that you're really trying to feel out, and it really depends if you can get them to answer, is like, do you have any children? If that would be something, what would be the areas that you would like to support? You can ask, do you have a donor advised fund? Like you're just trying to get information about your donor pool. You can ask, and I would definitely ask, have you already named us in your will? Right? Like, so you can be very specific around there. But for our side, we did a donor survey that was a part of a much larger survey, so that my plan giving answers I was able to use, but it wasn't just the plan giving survey, because it gets to be very hard, depending on how your organization is, for them to just allow you to communicate with X number of people for just your sole purpose. So I just say that to think about how that fits.
Right, that makes sense. Here's a good question. Elena is wondering, in terms of the language that you use when you're discussing plans giving, do you recommend saying gift of assets or transfer of assets? Do you think most donors understand what the term plan giving means, especially younger donors? And does it make sense to target the younger donors for plan giving?
So a couple things. Yes. If you say plan giving, you're basically in essence alluding to will gifts. Unfortunately, it's like the pop-up queue. You type on Google, that's what it's going to say. So whether it's gift of assets, whether it's being, gifts of non-cash, right? Like being able to try to think about how are those nuanced ways of being able to be more, generic. Or what I like to do is, let's say it's a donor that's over 70, I try to talk about everything, but try to target, let's say, QCDs. Or if it's someone that might be in that, like when you say a younger donor, it's very possible they might have a DAFS set up, right? And so making sure that I ask, hey, I know you're making this gift. I want to make sure you know that we actually have the ability to receive stock as a gift, as well as gifts from DAFS. in case that actually matters to you, I just want you to be aware that that's an option. Being able to incorporate that fluently, especially the giving assets that most likely apply. So a donor expresses some kind of issues around making sure they support their kids or income for life. Now, all of a sudden, you can bring in a CRT or a CGA in a way that says, well, we do have a product that might be able to help you with, because the names aren't going to matter. It's what those names of those products do that really makes a difference.
And I know that Russell James has a great deal of research on how to talk to prospective donors about this, and his Words That Work research. I think he's done at least 2 studies, Words That Work 1 and 2. And we've had him on a couple times, so you could check our website for his webinars or just Google him. He's got a ton of stuff out there. We have quite a few people asking about legacy societies. What kind of practical benefits would you, or do you find work for legacy societies?
So I think a couple of the most important things is birthday card can be very impactful. If you have the budget for it, even if it means just a digital birthday card, but kind of keeping you up there, having some kind of event, or even if there's something going on, but giving them invites to those different things, kind of keeping them connected is always very valuable. And hot take, having a ribbon or something that acknowledges them as a legacy society donor while they're there at that thing, right? It has a badge, but you have a ribbon. Game changer, because people do actually like to be singled out and appreciated for that component. So think about those very small ways. I know we talk about lapel pins and everything else, but think even at a small shop level, a ribbon can change their opinion about that gift. And so just think about those ways that you can cost effectively, say thank you and make them be seen as something special.
Yeah, we actually, our last webinar, Margaret Holman talked about pins for the Legacy Society, and she said, maybe they went out of fashion for a little while, but they're back in. People really like to have the pins. They like wearing them.
Well, and Carlo, you're spot on with the birthday cards too. I mean, it's all about the genuine connection too, and people feeling connected. Even if you have an audience all over the country. So.
Can I add one last thing? So with our organization, we actually give an anniversary around their Eagle Scout Award. What about you actually sending an anniversary card for their graduation, not just year, but the day, right? Like there's some very interesting ways that you can call out your connection with that institution. Even if you celebrate, every once in a while, like I've seen the idea of celebrating their 25th anniversary of their first gift to your institution. Like what kind of cool thing would it be to actually have that acknowledged?
Okay, and I apologize, but we are out of time. We had a handful more questions that we didn't get to, but Carlo has offered his email address. If you'd like to reach out to him personally with your question, feel free to do that. You can also reach out to Nathan or myself, and you can visit us at stelter.com if you'd like to learn more about our services. And webinar resources, yes, you will have the slides. And I know Carlo added more slides in there because he knew you were going to get them. And we went through them pretty fast, so you can digest them. And then also the recording, we recorded this. So I'll be sending out an email to let you know when those are accessible and give you the link to that. And you can also just go to stelter.com/webinars, and that's where they're all going to be eventually. So we are out of time. Thank you so much, Carlo, for spending the last hour with us. We really appreciate you being with us today. And thank you, Nathan, for being here as well.
Yeah, thank you, Carlo. A lot of great comments in there as well, energizing people across the country with some of your ideas and thoughts today. So thanks for sharing the hour with us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a great one.
Thanks. Everyone have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next month for our next webinar. Bye-bye.